And we're back. Friday Fitness. When I say back, maybe this is the first one you're watching. Because this is the first day of my workout week. This is day one of my routine, but it's my third day of filming. This project that I thought would be a little bit rough around the edges, and that's fine, has gone totally punk rock nonsense. It's embarrassing. You might also notice, if you've watched the other videos, I'm fully clothed. That's crazy. Yeah, it was just cold in there. And it is totally fine to start your workout in your clothes and get changed. That also helps if you are procrastinating. If you are having trouble getting started, just get started in your clothes and change when you're too warm. Especially with the timer going, once you start, you've started. It's easy and pain-free. Sometimes I'm also just get excited. I just don't have the patience to, I know that I've been procrastinating, so I dive into the workout before getting changed or warming up or making a shake. So that's how I roll on that. These are the sword draw lateral raises. I do them 3 times a week. The reason I reach cross body is to best get a stretch on the shoulder in the longest position. If you have access to a cable machine, you can do these on a cable machine. My setup with the dip bar and a yoga strap and a fucking truck hitch is just because this is me making it work. When you know what needs to happen, you can make it happen. Right? You can do conventional lateral raises and you will get some benefit, but not a lot, and they're boring and they're not satisfying. You need more constant tension. You need tension at the lengthened part of the movement. So cable laterals we've in some way adapted it so that there is tension on the muscle at the bottom, which is totally missing in a conventional lateral raise. I'm recording this audio the morning after, unconventionally. So my voice sounds like shit, and I'm blowing on a coffee. My voice sounds like shit all the time anyways, because I'm just talking alone. Just watching myself on a screen and talking. I already sound like a fucking crazy person. I said everything worth saying in the first one, and I hate repeating myself. It's embarrassing. Definitely a unflattering position to be in. And that's fine. Exercising isn't about looking good. Having exercised is about looking better. I mean, ultimately, no one gives a shit what you look like. As I've gotten in much, much, much better shape over the last 5 years, no one has ever given a shit. I also shouldn't record these first thing in the morning because I'm just more of a jerk. I'm just grumpy because the coffee hasn't kicked in. I should have waited till after, but I'm not going to restart. You should very much try and avoid doing those little rest pauses that I do. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. The more you can keep the constant tension on, the better. If you completely fail an exercise, it is okay to just fail the exercise, take a little additional rest, and rest through your rest period anyways. But it's also okay to do myo reps where you take a little rest pause. As long as you're not that's the word I'm looking for here. As long as you're not increasing your risk of injury by forcing yourself. I know that you are pushing yourself. I know that you are working, and feeling that work and that proximity to failure is very important. But there's a threshold that you gotta find where you're gonna be like, oh no, I've increased my injury risk. I was doing lateral raises of a type when I hurt my elbow last year, maybe even the year before. I was just like, yeah, you gotta dig deep. I was using a new movement, and I'd gone up in weight, and it was the last exercise of the day, so I was like, go ahead and just dig deep. And my perception changed. If you have synesthesia, you might kind of get this more, but the color of what I was feeling changed from the normal color I perceive of muscle working to just a color of damage. The feeling shifted of like, oh, the local muscle is getting tired, to my bones and joints hurt, and my global sense of strain shifted to another level, and it was bad. And my elbow was truly fucked up for a couple of days, and then I spent months bringing it back and having to baby my bicep and my forearm on one side to get back up to baseline. So don't dig too deep. There is a threshold where you are just hurting yourself for no benefit, for pure detriment. Even though you do need to lift close to failure and it needs to be tough, there is a limit. And people who are starting out will quit an exercise too early. They will lift to mild discomfort rather than failure. And if you're working with them, you can push them to dig a little bit deeper. Don't be a psycho. Let them know that it's safe to dig a little deeper than that. And if you're working out on your own, you'll just learn over time. Like, you'll have days where you push yourself and it ultimately feels good and nothing bad happens. And so you learn that that's where the line is. There'll be times when you go over it and it feels bad, and that negative feedback will let you know. What a thing I've been thinking about a lot lately. I haven't explained the exercise I'm doing at all. I'm not commentating, I'm rambling. Finishing up that thought, what I've been thinking about lately is building muscle works a lot like Hemingway said going bankrupt works, where it happens very gradually, then all at once. A year of learning, experimenting, playing, taking in lots of advice and slowly discarding the advice that doesn't work for you, and a year of dialing in your diet, getting good ideas in and bad ideas out, and habits that you know are sustainable and enjoyable. That year you don't build much muscle. You change your posture, you better your mood, so you will see some changes, you will perceive improvement. Once you get dialed in and you're in your second and third year of hypertrophy training, you will have these moments where you're suddenly like, man, I guess I'm blowing up right now. And I know that I have a pretty normal physique by internet standards here, but I've outgrown a bunch of shirts. I now have a bag by the dresser of clothes to go back to the thrift store because I bought them last year and they fit a way that I liked, which is why I bought them and wore them. And now when I put them on, they are too tight because I have added too much muscle, or I've added this much muscle, and I intend to keep adding more. So the shirts are going back. Technically, I didn't buy them from the thrift store, I just rented them for 6 months. So this wrist over exercise that is also explained in the previous video. It's about working your bicep brachialis, which is a different muscle than your bicep. You want to don't let your elbow move through space. You are rotating just at the forearm, and you can see where my fingers are on my other hand. I'm feeling the muscle stretch and contract under there. It's not the bicep, it's between your bicep and tricep, but visually it fills out your arm in a big way. It just adds another lump to catch light and cast shadows. So it makes your arm look really good. You can include it on a shoulder day or because this day is technically a pull day. It could also be called a back and bicep day. And so I include it there. I think it also shows up on one push day just because I want to get it in 3 times a week to make sure that muscle is getting enough stimuli and growing. At some point, I'm gonna take these fucking jeans off. Really makes me look like more of an asshole to be in jeans than to be in shorts. So this block number 2, failure block again. Not all my block 2s are failure blocks in every workout, but it is where I like to put the stars of the workout. Whatever the most important things of the workout are always in block 2. So the block 1 gets me in the zone, feeling good. Even though I have a gentle warm-up, I do warm up by doing my first block as well. And then if the most difficult, heaviest stuff is in the 3rd block, it can feel a little deflated and defeated by the time you get there. Like, Wednesday is squats day, and doing squats in the 3rd block, I wonder if that truck backing up is picked up on the mic. Doing squats in the 3rd block, it'll sound like it's in the music anyways. Doing squats in the 3rd block is a recipe for deciding to skip squats or to go light because you already feel defeated. So I will always put them in the 2nd block, and then something relatively quick feeling, relatively simple feeling in the 3rd block, so that the volume is up there and I've got it done, but it's not something that I stress about. Backing up forever, Mr. Truck. See, failing out pretty quick. Which is also why, just for like my own satisfaction's sake, I do these chin-ups as well. So I will pull up to failure and then chin up to failure, just so I can feel like I've done a bit more. It can be unsatisfying to work for less than 30 seconds. So even if you're doing a 1 rep max type thing, it can feel like, I didn't do much. You worked as hard as your body can work. I couldn't do more pull-ups, but it still doesn't feel satisfying because it didn't take that long. I was also thinking during the workouts about how, because I have no space on my computer, I'm exporting these and uploading them in 720 rather than 1080, so that they look worse than I would like, and like some of the definition on my muscles and stuff goes away. Like my physique looks a little bit worse in 720 than 1080, and I thought, you just gotta live with that. Let the jank be part of the presentation. And of course I thought I should put these in grainy black and white. And then I thought, no, that's stupid. Thanks for having done. Now, I was excited to talk about this because when I started this project, when I was first going to do it, I thought of a couple of days where I do the most normal exercises and thought, yeah, that's the one that I'll film so that I don't have to look like as much of a weirdo and explain as much shit. And then when I decided to film every day of a week, I was like, crap. So the exercise coming up is the kind of thing where we're all gonna chuckle, and that's fine. And definitely even some of the value of this workout could be contested. If someone super into optimization and form and exercises making sense checks out this upcoming movement, I have to acquiesce that, like, I came up with this thinking about deadlifts, as a matter of fact, and it's written on my board as ring deadlift, just because that initial pull from that position feels a lot like the initial pull of a deadlift. And then a deadlift is about straightening out your body. I thought, yeah, this is sort of like that. Ultimately, it's not very much like that. But it was enough like it that I thought I would play with it. And then I just find it really satisfying and fun and kind of silly. And I like gymnastics and calisthenic movements that move your body through space. So I kept doing it. The goal is to just get inverted and then touch your toes to the bar. So there's like a deadlift movement as you get inverted, and then there's a shrug and kind of a monkey curl to elevate yourself so your feet go up and touch the bar. And it's fun. I've made clients do it and they always get scared, and I don't fully understand why, but that is okay. And my back did look pretty good when I came down from that last one. There's absolutely I used to also just do full rotations where I would touch my feet to the ground or to a box behind me. And I could bring that back too. It's just fun. You can do them on parallel dip bars and things like that as well. It's just fun to like move your body through space in these kind of ways and feel just the various muscular control that takes. And you can see I didn't get it, so the set's over. And then just tidying up the space around me, putting away some scissors. Ding, ding, fiddly ding. Waiting. I can see that I'm in the living room area. Oh, right, I'm making a note. Another valuable thing you can do on your rest time: update your to-do list for the upcoming weekend. Invert. It's actually not ab work, even though like I'm looking at it, it's like, yeah, my midsection looks kind of good. You can see my abs somewhat because your abs aren't contracting against load. This would be a lower back exercise, because that is what is struggling to contract and straighten you out. It's the perfect opposite of a hanging leg raise. And now I'm going to do some straight arm chop-outs. So I used to do these bent arm and much heavier. This is going to make sense in a minute. I shouldn't be describing something that you need to see to understand. But we're also not going to sit here for 30 more seconds, starting now, waiting for that to be true. So I really enjoy rotational and anti-rotational movements and oblique work. I know people say you shouldn't work your obliques for aesthetics. I think you shouldn't ever neglect a muscle, because that's where you will get injuries. It's, I think, extremely unlikely you will ever get so much oblique hypertrophy that it changes the silhouette much of your body. And yeah, you don't want to risk injuries. Spinal rotational stuff is a vulnerable place, and absolutely where you can get injured. So working your obliques is fun and important, and shouldn't be neglected. And so, as I was saying, I used to do these with a really heavy weight and allow my arms to get involved. and it was this strong, chopping, swinging motion. But I found that straighter arms means more of a connection up from my leg to my hip to my obliques. I can really feel that line of force and that connection. Whereas if I let my arms bend and use a lot of like over the shoulder pulling motion, that kind of goes away and it becomes all arms. And this would be such a stupid arm exercise. Like you're just doing the shittiest ever cheap bicep curl. So straight arms for working the rest of the body. Also, I try not to get my rope side arm involved too much because it's hard on the wrist. Because that would be more of a pushing motion than a pulling motion. So focusing on the non-rope side arm is the point of the exercise, and getting that pulling motion through that oblique where you want to be rotating away from the bar. And this is something I encourage people to try. This is a fun and satisfying exercise. As I feel like any oblique work is. Mike Isertel was talking the other day about how like bicycle crunches are worthless. And my thought was like, yeah, but they're really fun and nice and satisfying. I actually currently don't do them. My ab work is just the Bozu crunch and the Bozu leg raise. But I've always enjoyed bicycle crunches in the past. I just find them really fun and nice. And yeah, any kind of like even anti-rotation work with a cable where you just get a cable in hand and step away from it, is fun. Working your obliques is great. I have the terrible habit, because I worked in kitchens for years, of always having an apron and or kitchen pants on, that if I have protein powder on my hands, I end up just wiping it on my thigh. I've seen it in every video. Also, these are my Saucony running shorts, and the zipper on the back pocket broke almost immediately. And also, I am glowing white, as always. Even though you can see in other shots that I do have some color in my skin. I am tanned, and I am flushed. My back is red in other shots. I guess I should diffuse the light from the window and hang something in front of it so that some light gets through, but not so directly. And just trying to move this to give some consideration to the framing of this filming project. Because the camera can't go any farther back. It's sitting on a box fan that is against the wall. When I started this project, it was just to be, like I said, I was going to do one, and it was just because I've always struggled to explain how I use the timer. I feel like it doesn't get across when I explain it, and so I thought, yeah, if I just film one whole workout, my timer system can then make sense. And then, for whatever reason, it occurred to me, I should post a whole week so that anyone who wants to can just know exactly how I actually work out right now. Hey, this has been a long silence. Yeah, you can see me trying not to overuse my rope sidearm. and trying to focus on the opposite side oblique, because it's doing the actual contracting work and it has the stretch at the top position. And then, something I was looking forward to commentating, a bunch of futzing around, because even though I tried this exercise and thought it would work, I never tried it in a sets and reps situation. And thinking about it now, even thinking about it later, a few moments after this, I was like, oh, I should have just gone down to like 10 pounds. It's fine. The rope on the pipe actually does add a lot of friction. I found it and other clients have found it. And one time I was doing an alternating exercise, and when I reached up and touched the bar later, the bar was like scorching hot. So there's a lot of friction there. What I'm attempting to do here is a single arm pullover with the rope. So you see me facing into the incline bench and holding the rope overhead behind me, really satisfyingly creating a line of force that is continuous. So this position mimics a good pullover. The problem I find with pullovers is they get easier immediately. They are only difficult when you are deep in the hole, and then they get easy, and then they get too easy, and you take all the tension off, even by accidentally going too far forward. And so coming up with a way to have a satisfying pullover was the goal here. I just, especially with the camera running, knowing that like, this is not just going to be seen and I want to get on with it, also that I need the video to be short. I may even have to edit this part out. So what I end up doing is just jumping to a different exercise and then putting in a pullover at the end. It's supposed to be cable pullovers, cable high rows, and it just becomes the row, and then I do traditional box pullovers. And then I've also got to just live with, this is a terrible angle for these rows. You don't get to see much, but you know what a row looks like. Who gives a shit? Finally starting the timer and getting ready to go. And here I'm really focused on not rotating at all. Just because my one shoulder is going really far forward, I'm making sure that my other shoulder isn't moving through space, so I'm not using my obliques at all. I'm not using any rotational strength to move this weight. I'm letting the weight pull on my arm to stretch my scapula so that it goes really far forward, but I'm not rotating at all. There's no contraction on my obliques. And I'm just driving that elbow as far back behind me as if I'm like going to be able to elbow the ground is the cue in my mind. And then I make it a little bit heavier. And I guess you guys also have the benefit, you can skip around the video. You don't have to watch this uninterrupted. You can just get the relevant information and leave. That's what fitness YouTube videos are for. And I'm thinking about how this is going to look on the other arm. It's going to be even worse. Just such anti-filmmaking. Next year, I'll do this project again with the lessons learned from this go through, and it'll be better. Someday we'll watch them all in order and go, yeah, look at how he improved over the years. And that's always the point. Really just thinking. Right, now I need to tidy off the box because I'm going to do conventional box pullovers. Yeah, I moved the bench this far in the hopes that you'd be able to see something on this arm, but I can't get like perpendicular to the camera, so you really can't see much. I end up moving it back. I am 100% devoid of things to say. Someone really eagle-eyed would notice that I always start with this grip and then change. This pinky forward grip is much, much harder. And so I like to start there to like focus on gripping with my whole hand, but it is impossible to keep doing for 3 sets. So I always end up switching by the 3rd one. But you should always focus on pulling with your pinky and gripping with your whole hand. We subconsciously just always grip with our index finger. I can barely make out the tattoos on my legs, and you'll be seeing this in a lower resolution, so they will just be blurs to you. And even with the amount of overexposure, you can still see how splotchy my back is. Muscularly, my back looks pretty good though. I feel like I've got a good V-taper started. I've got strong traps. Visually strong. And I've never had to work my traps. Everyone gets something for free. I just got big traps out of nowhere. I've tried to avoid working my traps in every exercise because they just take over and they don't need any hypertrophy. I was once in the middle of telling someone that to try and avoid working my traps at all times, when someone else came over and was like, man, your trap development is like really good. And I'm gonna put all of this away and do single arm box pullovers. And pullovers are a mixed bag. I find something really, really satisfying about that overhead motion, like you're gonna just like throw something straight down, or even just throw something in a big parabolic arc. But mimicking that double-handed throwing motion is really satisfying. It feels really good on your back and your shoulders. Like I already said about the line of force and everything, and these movements get too easy too quickly. The whole isn't enough. And then also, these are hard on the knees. Being in this position so long, so frequently, for absolutely no benefit. It's just like, man, like, my knees are the thing that want to give out. I can't even concentrate on what muscles are approaching failure or not. So coming up with a cable variation, or you can do these on an inclined bench as well. I don't know why I find that less satisfying, but I do. Also, the greatest thing about box pullovers is if you are going to fail the exercise, you can just gently put your weight on the box, and that's fine. Tidying up in the rest period, which I also think is a valuable part of using the timer. Because if you are auto-regulating your rest, you will rest too short at the beginning and too long at the end. And if you do anything else, you will get too distracted for too long. But if the timer is running, you're like, actually, this is free time now. I can use this time to tidy up. Classic kitchen mindset. You've got a little bit of downtime, clean something up so you don't have to clean it up later. Also, if you're doing box pullovers or you're using a bench or whatever to do this, wherever your hips are, keep them still. You gotta fight that urge to rise and fall with it, because that's actually taking the stretch out of the bottom of the exercise. You'll have the urge because you're thinking, move the weight downward. That will give you the urge to lift your hips up to make that happen. But you're just fucking up your stretch when you do that. You're making it more mechanically advantageous, and that's wrong. You want to be at a disadvantage to cause the muscle to grow and adapt. And also it's totally valid to spend your rest periods staring into space. As I've said as well, as you should at the end. At the end of a workout, you should have enough endorphins that you are kind of calming down. The perfect time to start wrapping up a workout is when you start zoning out and staring into space. That's how you're not going to build up so much fatigue that you start to like dread working out. It doesn't have to be a blood and guts fiasco every time you work out. You can chip away at it and just keep chipping, and there is a sustainable pace. I also think in every commentary I've been so out of things to say at the end, and quite typically the last exercises, like I said, are very, very simple things that don't require a lot of setup. Often they will be alternating exercises again, like I'm doing left pullovers and then right pullovers, so there's even less to say for 23 minutes. Taking apart the Goliath rig. Eventually, I don't know if it's this workout or the next, you see me like in a rest period getting ready to take the garbage out. I've only worked out in a commercial gym once in my life, and my other public gym experiences have been at a student gym at a university. Everything I see about commercial gyms makes it look so terrible. It seems awful, and I know that that's like the negativity bias, where like people don't often talk about things going perfectly well, or things going according to plan, or things going quite nicely. But people talk a lot when things go wrong or bad. I constantly feel like I'm seeing videos criticizing people who take videos in the gym. And I think fear of that happening is now spreading. It's like people don't want to go to the gym because if they step in the way of someone's tripod, they might get yelled at and just create internet discourse for days. I don't know, someone who actually has had experiences with it cannot possibly be happening as much as it seems like it's happening, because that's just true of everything in the world today. Most places at almost all times are quite boring and uneventful. Otherwise, the events wouldn't be worth noting. Also, with pullovers, really important not to turn them into tricep extensions. Whatever bend you have in your elbow needs to stay the same the whole time. You don't want to do these totally straight armed because that's dangerous. But if you are changing the angle of your elbow during the exercise, you've snuck in some tricep work, and this isn't a push day, so don't do that. You want to be feeling it in your shoulders and in your back. If you do close grip double arm pullovers, you will kind of feel it in your chest, and I think that's valid. It's a valid way to work out. The discussion I've seen around pullovers is like a lot of people don't do them because it's so confusing as to what they are for and where you should put them. I really like them, and I think they do serve like a functional purpose in that they will train you to throw. You may be in a situation where you need to throw something somewhat heavy kind of far, and so you choose to throw it overhead. Yeah, and I think they're good for your shoulders and everything like that. They're a poor hypertrophy exercise because it's really hard to say what they are isolating, and you can cheat them by moving your hips and things like that. And the tension is just so inconsistent. go back to those cable pullovers myself in the future, and I will try it with a 10-pound plate on the rope. And kablamo, done for the day.